Uh, but I don't quite understand why circumcision is considered necessary in today's society. I know it was a way of marking, at least the way I understand it, was a way of marking them, setting them apart from the Gentiles, or specifically the pagans, in the old days.
Let's stop there. Okay, John, first of all, before you're even done with your message, I want to say thank you very much for your message. Like I said, I think it's probably one of the better voice messages we've gotten as a whole. We're not going to play the whole thing for everybody, but it definitely was a bright part of our day as we listened to it. With that said, I think that there are a couple of maybe missteps that have been made here. First of all, I'm going to let Rob talk more to the word that was used, necessary. I don't think that this is the correct word that should be used. The idea of it is a necessary. What do we mean by necessary? Do we mean part of the covenant? Well, it was part of the Abrahamic covenant. It's part of the Mosaic covenant. It transcends the covenants in terms of it's a thread that goes through the covenants, I believe. So there's that. But what do we mean by necessary? Is it necessary to for us to have salvation? Absolutely not. And I think that John, as a good Baptist, would probably agree with that. There's no work is going to save you, not even circumcision. Okay, but the thing, and I'll let you talk to that in just a few seconds. The thing I want to talk about, the thing I want to address here, though, let's listen to this one more time so I can refresh my memory.
From the Gentiles, or specifically the pagans.
Yeah, to separate us. Let's get his exact word.
Well, he said
the way
them.
I understand it was a way of
In
marking
olden
them.
times.
Yeah, hang on. So the way I understand it is,
It was a way of marking them, setting them apart from the Gentiles.
okay, so the way that he understands is that it was a way of separating them and setting them apart from the pagan nations. I think that this is also a little bit of a misstep, and the reason why is because circumcision was not exclusive to Israel. Now, maybe the way that they did it was exclusive to Israel. The Egyptians circumcised. They circumcised in a different way, but they circumcised as well. And so the question is, was it to set them apart? I don't believe it was necessarily to set them apart. As weird as that might sound. Let's talk about, so do you want me to talk about that first? Or do you want to talk about this term necessary?
Well, just in terms of how we frame questions and how we build thought, I'm looking at words like it was for them and in olden times,
right,
or in olden days. So the presumption seems to be that there's a difference. Like, I'm not part of the same people. And so I would just say that's a good place that we could talk about. Am I part of the same people, or is it they and we are a new people? So that's one area to discuss. The other is, and you already touched on it, I think I have seen in many study Bibles, for example, N.T. Wright or something, this was a sign to keep Israel separated from the Gentiles. But now that sign is gone now because Jew and Gentile become one in Christ. So I could understand where, is it John, did you say?
Yep.
Where John has, and others, a lot of us who have study Bibles will have encountered scholars who frame it this very way. That was for them to keep them from Gentiles, but in Christ, that is done away. And so I think Caleb and I and everybody at Torah Resource would challenge that framing of the situation and bring it back to covenant, as Caleb pointed out. And also back to something, Caleb, that you said at the beginning, was circumcision being misunderstood.
Yeah.
And we know that even from the apostolic writings, but we can look outside writings, from Qumran and first century Jewish writings, that circumcision was a contested issue within Israel. So it's not even a Jew-Gentile issue. It's a Jewish issue, and that different Jewish teachers explained it in completely different ways. In other words, it was a symbol that different groups gave spin this or that direction. And we know that even Paul in Philippians, I found it Philippians 3, he says, beware of the circumcision. We are the true circumcision. who worship in the spirit of God and glory in Christ Jesus and put no confidence in the flesh.
Right.
So again, Paul's using it rhetorically because it was in the air as a rhetorical thing. To be, quote, part of the circumcision became a kind of code word for falling in line to the bullies, to like religious bullies, like Saul of Tarsus was before his conversion. And so long story short, and then I'll pass it back, Caleb, is that even by the first century, circumcision was a misunderstood concept in the Jewish world that Yeshua came to. The Jews were already misunderstanding it and arguing about it. And that's the context we need to read the Gospels and Paul to try to understand, not the way that N.T. Wright would frame it.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.